into the Corman Fantasy Cast. We have a lot of fun stuff planned today. We have some good matchups to go through. We have playoffs. We have one special guest you guys might already know about, but we actually have another special guest. This is a special week because we have the first four-man cast. Yes, that's right. We have Mike, the Teabaggers, who's recently been eliminated from the playoffs, unfortunately. And we also have our commish. We got a lot to talk about today. And to kick it off, let's go to our special Skype co-host, the Teabaggers. And I heard that you have some things that you'd like to discuss. So why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, I do. First and foremost, I want to congratulate Chris on pulling off a huge upset against me. I'm not really over it yet, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? What I wanted to talk about was the way our league is set up, mainly our lineups, and the fact that we have kickers in our lineup, which I've always been for. But I lost basically due to a kicker this week. Cano put up 17 points. I can't predict what the kicker's going to do. I put up, I think, 7 points, my kicker. Kickers were the difference in 13% of our matches this year.
Is that a made-up statistic?
No, I researched it, actually.
Wow.
12 games out of 91 were decided by kickers. For a position that we don't even print out sheets for on draft day, that's kind of ridiculous. Brian, I saw your lineups. You didn't have kickers some week. You just rolled without one.
And I lost.
Did you really?
I've done it.
I had to because of buys.
And look who's in first
Hey,
place.
you want to drop
And
anybody?
if I kept my kicker was Crosby, I would have beat Chris.
But-
That would have changed.
shit.
Chris beat me that week. That would have changed everything.
But you're
There
in
There had to be
a
somebody. No, maybe
I
not.
couldn't
Five
drop
people on the bench.
All right, wait. Let's let Mike continue his point.
Again, Mike.
Let's let Mike continue his point.
You know, and it wouldn't shock me. I didn't do this much research, but it wouldn't shock me if guys like Bombo or Joe or Brian or Bailey probably didn't get much points out of their kickers. Guys like Kickers Lives Matter and Chris, for that matter. Those ones got all these points from their kickers. You do all this research, all this drafting. Who researches a kicker? Right? Your research. You want a dome kicker. You want a high-scoring offensive kicker. All this stuff, but it doesn't mean anything. You know, it's not like you have David Johnson going for a bad run D. There's really no way to measure a kicker's success.
Well, there is kind of. There is. If you have, like, okay, let's just go. We'll go with Vinatieri, for example. Besides the fact that he's one of the best kickers in the league, I mean, that's an offense that is good. It's not great. There's a lot of opportunities that a decent defense will stop them in their charge down the field, and you have these opportunities for Vinatieri to kick these 50-yard field goals. There was a couple weeks that he had 1 week 23 points, another week. I mean, there was definitely several weeks he had double-digit points. That definitely helped a lot of people win.
Look at Brian, first place. Dolomite Pimp Squad. Dolomite Pimp Squad. First place, like you said, there was a week he didn't even start a kicker. That's a strategic move. Just like playing Chris Boswell on Pittsburgh when Mike Tomlin doesn't like to kick extra points, you know, that's not a kicker you're going to pick up. Like you said, you're going to pick a kicker who's playing in a dome on a high-scoring offense against a bad defense.
On Monday night.
That's a streaming strategic move.
Yeah, but if
I
you follow
think
the weekly rankings, you can go right to the weekly rankings for kickers and just stream all year. That's basically what I did, is just stream kickers.
So we're getting
strategy.
the point we're getting at is, Mike, you want to do a flex instead of a kicker, correct?
I think that would make next year more exciting.
That's a huge change.
It's a huge
It is
change,
and I never was for that change until I got beat because of a kicker, basically.
That change is so massive, changes the landscape of the league.
Yeah, it does.
But it is so ahead of the game. You don't see season-long leagues having no kicker. I'm not in any.
No.
And I think that is where the future of fantasy football is going. And as much and drastic of a change it is, I'm with it. I think it's better for the game.
I agree.
All right, well,
I think it's better for the game.
Let's see.
We will obviously take a vote, but what makes it so exciting is, like, with a kicker, you always expected, all right, you know, I'll be happy with 5-6 points from a kicker. But if you go flex and you're able to put one of your, you know, fly or bench guys in that, you know, could possibly. I mean, how many weeks have we had where a bench guy has gone off? You know what I mean?
That could have been your flex.
It makes it so interesting. Like you said, maybe you have like a wide receiver 3 or another running back who, is getting more touches this week than the starter. Anything can happen.
Yeah, but we also don't
it
have
makes
an
it
eye on
really
spot.
interesting having that, eliminating a kicker and having that spot for a flex. That's pretty cool. Flex being receiver,
Flex
running
is rough
back,
in a 14-man
or a tight end.
There are weeks people are picking up players who might have had 1 or 2 receptions, to cover the people that are on their IR on their bench that they don't want to drop and stuff like that.
We don't have IR
Flex
bench,
is
though.
exactly. That's my point. Flex is tough in a 14-man league.
What do you mean? What do you mean the flex is tough in a 14-man league?
I mean that it's hard to put a full lineup together.
CJ, I'm not
without
surprised
finding
you
an
would
extra
say
running
that.
back.
No, I think
After the season you had.
All right.
It'd be very hard
All
to fill out.
right. Wait. Pause. First
Yes, she's laughing at
first
you.
of all, let's take a minute to say that we have breaking news. Our first 5-person Corman Fantasy Cast.
Oh my
And this
God.
is a perfect opportunity. This is a perfect opportunity to get Brooke's opinion on that. What do you think?
The high forming casters.
What do you think about this, Brooke?
What do you think? A kicker or a flex?
What do you think? Kicker or flex?
She agrees with me. She's smart.
She said flex.
Flex it is.
Flex it is. We'll drink to that.
Okay, well, we still got a lot to get to. So, listen, guys, share your opinions, share your thoughts. Email cormancast@gmail.com, put it in the message board, do whatever, share your opinions. Next on our list is a recap that is very difficult for me to discuss because I have zero involvement in either aspect of the playoffs or the dark playoffs. So, let's now get into the recaps. The first matchup we're going to talk about was by far the biggest. It was brother versus brother. It was our 3-time Corman champ versus our 2-time Corman champ. It was determined by a .38 win differential. What do you have to say about this matchup?
Well, fuck you, Chris. I had by far the superior team. I was a 15-point favorite going into the week. It all started Thursday night with that phantom Amari Cooper bomb that God knows what happened there. And then you got in my head. I'll give it to you. You did. You started texting me on the chat board. You were sending me text messages. I ended up dropping Philly's defense. I put in Fleener, cost myself some points there.
We all watched this go down.
Took out Nick Novak, who had 23 points for Lutz, who had, I think, 7 or 8 points. The only way you're going to beat me is if you had a boomer bust day from Deshaun Jackson. You did twice against me. And you had the Rodgers-Nelson stack. I know that you also didn't have a running back, which is even more embarrassing on my part. And to be honest with you, for a split second, I was hoping you were tied and gagged in some psycho's trunk. That's why you didn't do your lineup. But you were a millennial and you don't talk with company, whatever that bullshit excuse is. Whatever, fuck you, you beat me. I hope you lose. You're going to lose. Your team isn't that good. But congrats. You won 2 out of 3. What am I going to do? Congrats to you, buddy.
I mean, I don't know how this happened. He has 2 donuts on his team. Moncrief got 0. He played Riddick, who was inactive. You, in not even DJ, but Carlos Hyde, has the highest scoring member on both teams combined.
Yep.
I mean, this is just insane. I mean, it was close. It was not like you got blown out, but with 2 donuts and you having 26 points from Hyde, I don't know how you lost this one. I would have to say it was down to Fleener. Fleener has not done anything all year, and Fedorowicz has kind of been the guy. Even though he only did get 3.2 points, you lost by less than a point. That would have been it for you.
Yeah, lost by 4 yards. The whole game came to 4 yards.
Fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he got 17 from Graham Gano, so that really makes up for his not playing Theo Riddick.
It was strange that you guys didn't have any Sunday or Monday night guys.
Yeah.
The game was actually over after the 4 o'clock matchups.
Yeah.
It was supposed to snow in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers versus Seattle's defense. I had Winston versus New Orleans defense. I'm thinking Winston's going to hit by at least 10 points.
That's the exact opposite you would think would happen.
Yeah, I mean, Listen, again, it was just, for me, the only way he was going to beat me was with the Deshaun Jackson 80-yard touchdown. That's what he got. Like I said, he ain't going to go anywhere. I'm rooting for Brian, to be honest with you. He deserves it this year. Not only does he do the Corman cast every single week, Beers is a great competitor. I mean, Beers is always in the playoffs, I feel like. And Peterson, man, you had a good team this year.
Yeah.
But you guys don't communicate in the chat board. And for me, I would want someone who really puts their heart and soul into this thing to win it all, except Chris, because I don't want a 3-time champion next to me. So I want to be the only 3-time champion for at least as long as I can keep it that way.
Mike, you had a great year. Your season's over. You lost. We'll see you next year.
All right, our second matchup that we're going to talk about is Beers versus Dak Attack, and we're going to have to do this one without Mike because he had naked baby and dad duties going on. But I will just start off with this. Dak Attack and Bobby's World has been eliminated.
I like this matchup. It's a little biased that we're going through this matchup, but I'm just happy the way Mike lost. He got 7.7 points from Dak and a goose egg from Dez. Our defense is just that good, and this is a tough matchup. Beers, everybody on your team had a solid game. Even Zeke put up double-digit points. Stewart, I mean, you had a good game. This was a pretty big blowout. 100.64 to 63.9.
Yeah, it's a little painful to me, right? To see somebody not apparently too involved be putting up, a real defeat like this. But he got 19.24 points from Luck and 16 from Eifert, and that led him to the victory. And now he's in the running.
Yeah. As the person who's playing Bears this week, I am legit afraid of his team.
Yeah, he's got a good squad. Yeah. He's got a good squad. He's been solid.
Let's take a look real quick.
Dak's fifth place record was misleading because they ranked 9th place in a scoring average. He underachieved for the 10th time this season. Got less than he was supposed to get. So
who was that? I'm sorry.
Dak Attack. Yep. He's 10th this season. Beers had the biggest win margin he had all season.
Season, this is his
he had the biggest win margin. So
it's a good week to do it.
Yep. So
Malcolm Mitchell, Thielen has been legit. That's actually pretty crazy. Thielen put up he had 101 yards, but 10 double digit 10 points in a standard. He's usually a PPR guy. He catches a lot of passes. He's not a whole, it's not a big yardage, but that was a nice game from him, especially in a standard. Mitchell has been the guy over there. Even, he's definitely had some nice weeks, even alongside Edelman. Just an overall good performance from everybody when you needed to in the playoffs. So, good win for you, Beers.
Let's face the facts. Dak Attack, Mike DeSilva, wheeled and dealed his way into the playoffs. But you saw a real decline in his output once the trade line hit. And maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe that's part of his strength is DeSilva needs to flip those guys, get his juices flowing, and his juices dried up.
All right, this next matchup is Bombo Berry versus Kickers Lives Matter in the dark playoffs. Kickers Lives Matter continues to just fall apart. We all knew it. We all called it. Bobby, I'll wait till next year's draft day to douse you with water because our water bet. Bombo Berry put up 61 points and still won by 14 points. Kirk Cousins, 17 points. Robert Kelly, 14.8. That was really it. And, oh my God, Bobby had 2 points from LaFell, 3 from Marshall, 2 from Crabtree. Cam, 12 points. Ware, 6.3 points. It was a shit show. Bombo did leave 14 points on the bench for Doug Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, other than that, it was a typical game.
And Matt Ryan.
The lost, the last 7 weeks, 8 weeks? It was really bad, but congrats to Bobo to advancing to the next round.
Yeah, this is just an ugly matchup. I mean, 61.66 points. I don't deserve to beat anybody. I think I might have beaten Would I have beaten Dak this week?
You would have beat me. That's not true.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have even beaten Dak this week. This is exactly why our teams are not in the actual playoffs and only in the dark playoffs. Fitzgerald did nothing, 1.2 points. He's really better in a PPR league anyway. Williams everybody. I actually even over tinkered this week. I dropped Miami defense and went with Arizona, and we know that Miami defense had a great day. I went with Josh fucking Bellamy on the Bears. I figured, no Alshon, no Royal, no Miller, Zach Miller. It looked like, he had a couple good weeks the past few weeks. I went with him over. Actually, he actually did better than all my other receivers, but I did drop Tyler Boyd for him, and Tyler Boyd had a good day. Over tinkered, didn't even need to. It is what it is. It was a good win, I guess. No, it actually was ugly.
Can you explain your thinking with Matt Ryan on the bench?
Okay, my thinking with Ryan on the bench, I figured LA is terrible. They would probably take the lead early and go with the run game. And Kirk Cousins has been great in divisional matchups. I figured it'd be a shootout. Philly defense is at least not very good against the pass. They actually, I think they had a pretty good game, correct?
Don't disrespect my team, bro.
Yeah. I'm not disrespecting nobody. Just,
trash, dude. What are you thinking?
Who's trash?
LA.
Yeah, like I said, they are trash. I figured they would lean on the run game early, and it would be a shootout with Cousins and Philly. I started Cousins against Dallas, and he blew up. I just kind of figured that would happen again. But regardless, I won, so I'll take it. Now, our final matchup of the dark playoffs is Saved by Lev Bell and B for Boomer. A lot to be said about this. We'll let CJ get into it.
Saved by Lev Bell crushed B for Boomer. He annihilated him. It was 120.72 to 76.44. Lev Bell got 47.8 points. Joe won by 44.28 points.
Yeah.
So even if he didn't play Lev Bell, he would have only lost by 3 points.
It's a shame Lev Bell blows up on your team the week that the playoffs are already out of your reach. Jeremy Hill, too, had another great game. And welcome to the bus train with DeAndre Hopkins in the first round, and me with Robinson.
Yeah. Joe had 60 points on his bench.
120 points, Joe.
Yeah.
Last time you put up those kind of numbers, you lost to Mike.
Yeah, that was the week Mike had 160 points, which I think was the most scored all season.
All season, yeah, especially in our standard league.
Yeah. And it is time for the world-renowned Good GIF of the Week.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep doing it.
Feels so right.
Good Jiffy.
Our first nominee is Bombo Troll.
Bombo Troll. Our second nominee is Bobby's Season. One, because the teacher's really hot. Two is because it's a funny good joke.
Our third good GIF of the week is especially for Mike and Bobby. Here, Dad, you dropped it.
It's a locked phone. Awesome, the jet, Bombo.
And our fourth good GIF of the week, Bobby loves the cop.
And the winner is Bobby Loves the Cock by Old Dirty BJ.
Congratulations, CJ.
I mean, that was just rapid fire.
Oh,
As soon as that picture of Bobby came up of him in New York, it was just cock in the mouth.
I was just Google dick sucking. That was it.
Bobby, we don't really think you suck cock.
But the Cowboys do.
But that picture certainly implies differently.
We're not saying you like cock, but that picture totally makes it seem like you like cock.
Man, we just crushed Bobby this week. Let me just do a shout out because Bobby, we love you.
He's gonna come back with some Bobby's World 4, and we're all gonna be the stars.
I can't
CJ,
wait.
if you love him so much, what's his last name?
Quinn.
Quinn. Dude, let me tell you something. Don't fuck with Bobby, man. He'll get you.
Quinn.
Bobby,
Don't listen to Bobby, he'll get you. You got me.
Bobby, there's minimal people that I would rather be in a league with than you. And I can't wait to see the next Bobby World. But you got crushed this week, and I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, Bobby, I appreciate the Bobby's World, and I just hope you also draft another 2, maybe 3 kickers again next season.
He has to do it himself. That's the question, really, folks.
And for our next segment, we're going to introduce the 8 teams that still have something to live for. This is Week 15, the playoffs and the dark playoffs. Why don't you introduce us to our first matchup?
All right, first we got the first place Dolomite Pimp Squad versus Beers.
Beers is in 4th place. They got an 8-5 record going against Dolomite Pimp Squad. First seed, who is 9-4. And personally, for me, I'm cheering for Dolomite Pimp Squad to bring it home.
Likewise. Yeah, I guess I got to throw my hat in for Dolomite. The matchups are look pretty exciting. It's going to be close. You got Ben versus Cincy, Luck versus Minnesota. Cooks versus Arizona is a little scary. We'll see how that pans out.
I think Pierce has a lot of tough matchups this week.
He does. He's got a lot of tough matchups for sure. Mitchell and Denver.
Tampa, Grundy.
I do like Thielen and Indy. That should be nice. Tampa Bay's really stepped up lately.
Just don't lose by a kicker, man. That's all I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I don't really like Macklin, but I don't think you have any other receivers.
Actually, funny story. Delahanty at work today told me that he saw I hadn't had a kicker yet, and told me that he was planning on, if I didn't pick one up by Saturday, adding and dropping every kicker so that I couldn't start a kicker.
That doesn't work.
Good for him, man. That's savvy.
But that doesn't work. You need to have them on your team for 24 hours, I thought, before they're locked into waivers.
I'm not sure of the specifics, but I immediately added a kicker.
Regardless, I jumped the gun and added a kicker.
And I also threatened my commissioner badge. I was like, well, I'm the commissioner, and I would overrule it. And he's like, you can't overrule it. And I said, I'd meet with the Council of Elders. And he said, your Council of Cronies can't do shit.
Wow. Harsh words spoken by a competitor.
I do like it.
Harsh words spoken by a competitor who is in 2nd place, and he's fighting for everything he's got, too. He doesn't know many people in this league.
No.
Who's he playing this week?
I was going to say, speaking about Adrian Peterson, let's get into his matchup. It's another playoff game. It's the second and only of the 2, so let's get into that. We got I Suck versus Adrian Peterson.
Ooh, Adrian Peterson. I know we just got done saying how he doesn't know many people. He's a little bit of an outsider, but Adrian Peterson, let's go. Bring it home because we can't have another 3-time champ before a lot of us have had our opportunity to get our first.
I agree. Champ. Peterson, you have my vote. I Suck has had my number this year. He beat me 3 times. Oh no, was it 2 or 3 times? Regardless, he crushed my hopes for the playoffs. So Adrian Peterson, you got my vote. Actually, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Jones. I mean, any given day, I would love Jones at San Francisco if he plays. Tyrod at Cleveland. Tyreek Hill has been looking good.
Does the eldest?
We'll see.
Does the eldest have anything to say about this juicy matchup?
As long as D. Jackson doesn't get an 80-yard touchdown, Chris ain't winning. This team really does suck. He just catches guys at the right time. I think he was the lowest scoring person in the playoffs by a wide margin.
I would have taken the 6th seed over him if I had beaten him.
Well,
because of points.
Well, I think Alshon Jeffrey comes back this week too.
Alshon does come back this week, yes.
And so does Julio Jones, so he's got a lot of question marks.
That's questionable right now.
Yeah, got a lot of question marks at wide receiver for sure, but if they all start, his team looks good. With Chris, the story is just Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson as
against
quarterback,
Chicago
wide receiver combo, and like Mike said before, Deshaun Jackson, boom or bust.
Deshaun could be in line for another good game. Carolina's secondary is terrible. Moncrief is banged up, might not even play, but he's got Marquise Lee, who stepped up in recent weeks. And that's actually all he's got is as his backup receivers, but it's not a bad one.
Yeah, and Adrian Peterson, don't overthink your decisions, because I know if it was me, I'd be having a rough time. Oh, who do I start? You got Dontrell Inman, Alshon Jeffrey.
He's got Dixon.
Tyree Hill's been killing it, so it's like, well, do I start Alshon over Tyree Hill? So don't overthink your decisions and keep doing what you've been doing.
I guess I'll introduce the next one for the African American playoffs. We got myself, Bombo Berry, versus Hung by AJ's Green, who looks like he might actually have Green back this week. That kind of scares me. His team probably should have gotten into the playoffs. My team is not for a reason. I have a couple weapons, but I have a couple to his many. I mean, Murray scares me.
Looking at this team on paper,
Beckham.
With AJ Green, Demaryius Thomas, Odell Beckham Jr., Jay Ajayi, DeMarco Murray, they are really good on paper, and I'm surprised he didn't make the playoffs.
Right, yeah, his team's sick. I mean, I think he had the most points against, didn't he?
I believe between him and Saved by Lev Bell, but yeah, he was up there.
Yeah,
I think he had the second most points. He had a good year. I mean, I was rooting against him just so he would make the playoffs.
Joe had everybody beat.
I was also rooting against AJ's Green only because the final week of the regular season, all I had to do was beat I Suck and him lose. He did lose, but I Suck was the better man, so it didn't matter anyway. But on paper, he should take this matchup. Obviously, I want to win every game I'm in, but I wouldn't be heartbroken. It's been a lost season for me. It was very fluky. Had great weeks, bad weeks, so we'll see what happens.
The final matchup of the Dark Playoffs is Saved by Lev Bell versus Knuckles.
Let me just get this started. One, because my phone died, and I don't have much to say besides what's already in my head. Two, because I don't have much to say stat-wise, but I'm cheering for this matchup.
Who is
Saved by Lev Bell, it's a mix. It's a throw up. First of all, throw up, not like vomit throw up, like throw up like in the air.
Toss up.
Toss up. That's
House Eichels rules.
I'm so bad.
House Eichels.
Guys, let's give Kevin some credit too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ryan's dick about all he did, but Kevin was a great host for the show, and
not just a great host. We were in the mix between
he
bottom
has risen from the ash.
Yeah, bottom of the league. There were times that me and Kevin were arguing about who was going to come in last place, and Kevin's back up. He's in 8th place right now. He picked it up like hardcore.
Yeah.
And that's just being persistent.
He won a lot straight.
He had the bye in the Dark Playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just being persistent and win and production. And he's killing it.
His team is pretty solid. I mean, you got Matt Stafford, who's having a great year. Jamison Crowder, who's having a great year. Sanders has been consistent. Willie Snead has even been better than Cooks. Tevin Coleman, surprisingly, even splitting carries with Freeman has been good. Kenneth Farrow, you picked up this week. That's going to be a starting back for you. I personally think Kyle Rudolph's a little better in PPR, but is still scoring touchdowns. It's a solid squad you got there, Knuckles.
Yeah, and on Joe's side, Joe's been productive all season.
He was really close to making the playoffs.
Again, my phone died, so I don't know the stats, but he either had the most points for or the most points scored against. I forget what it was, but he's been killing it, and I think he has the most projected. He does have the most projected points this week with 102 points.
102.
More than anybody. And
Lev Bell.
He's got good matchups too. I mean,
yeah.
Kaepernick in Atlanta is a terrible defense. Although they looked like an elite defense against LA last week. Let's just mention
that's
that.
LA. That's a Jeff Fisher list.
Yeah,
LA,
but San Francisco's not much better. So you got.
Oh no! What are they gonna do without Jeff Fisher?
Yeah, right. Do better.
Win games.
Win games exactly.
They fired their head coach a few days ago. They're not just going to bounce back and be an amazing team. They're going to be a little bit of.
I would argue that they're better without Jeff Fisher.
I agree.
They'll probably win Thursday. I bet you.
I don't know. I don't
The
necessarily.
guy couldn't even find the challenge flag in his own pockets.
I think they're better ultimately without.
He's
Jeff
tied
Fisher.
for the most losses in NFL.
No,
history.
wait. He just missed breaking a record for the most losses because the Rams fired him before you can even get to that point.
Well, they didn't want to be.
Yeah.
They didn't want that on their shoulders.
Exactly.
They could've at least given
So just to touch base on his team, Kaepernick, he had a couple down weeks, but he can move. He's up against Atlanta. Devontae Adams has been great against the Chicago defense. Should be good. I'm sorry, you're in my same boat with Hopkins. Matthews, he's been okay, I guess. Hill and Bell, you should be fine. Ladarius Green has stepped up, and Gostkowski in Minnesota defense. Indy has a pretty good offense, but this should be a pretty close matchup, I think.
Mike, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to you, Kevin, Dumbo, CJ, all the other hosts, Bailey, Joe. This was a transitional year for the Corpsmen. This is by far my favorite league. You guys are great competitors. Any given year, I mean, CJ had a rough year this year. It wouldn't shock me one bit if he won the whole thing next year. So good luck to Brian, Chris, Delahante, and James. You guys earned it. And we'll see how it shakes out.
Thank you. Good luck to you. I love you. Godspeed. And may the force be with you.
Go dress your naked babies.
Yeah.
Take it easy, man.
Well, gentlemen and ladies and children of all ages, that about does it for our Week 15 Corpsmen Fantasy Cast. It was a pleasure being here, and I hope that this isn't my last Fantasy Corpsmen Cast ever, but it probably will be for this season.
It will be for this season, I think so, but I would definitely like to come back next season. I'm sure that after all the success we've had this year, it's something that's going to continue, a new tradition for the Corpsmen that I'm happy to be a part of. It's my second year. So yeah, thanks for having me on 3 or 4 times, and it was a pleasure hosting with you a couple times.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, fellow Giants fan. We're pretty happy right now. The guy sitting behind the camera's not, but it's okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you on the battlefield and perhaps next week.
Good luck to everyone. Accia mana
Vici!
Veni vidi vici!
Ale ave acme.
I was between that one and Brian's.
Where did he get that from?
About Dallas.
Hi, my name's Anthony. I have a lot of opinions and I have no volume control.
Fine, that's it.
Oh man.